Hello people of the internet, welcome to Paint to Life episode 36, the YouTube channel where we take tiny plastic miniatures, throw some acrylic paint on them, then breathe life into them with storytelling so you might learn something new on the subject or perhaps pick up something for your own D&D campaign as well. If you're new here, welcome. If you enjoy my content and storytelling, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, helps the channel grow, I much appreciate it. As I mentioned last week, I am going to be giving away this Nozel's Marvelous Miniature Kraken, generously donated by my friendly local gaming store Phoenix Rising. More information on how you can enter to win that at the end of the video. So stick around till the end. I'm GM Atank. Let's get painting. Okay, last week we painted the Nozel's Marvelous Miniatures Umber Hulk. That was T-Tick the Broodlord. Oh, as someone mentioned in the comments, maybe Brood Lady? Anyways, if you missed it, you can check it out there in the link after you're done watching this video. It was a pretty good episode, very well received, so I think you'd enjoy it. Give it a check. So tonight we're going to be painting a miniature that's a bit of a mystery. It kind of goes hand in hand to a D&D release that we had this week. This miniature is from Reaper Bones Kickstarter number 4, and it's miniature number 13. But I'm not sure if it's been sold separately yet. Because it's nondescript, it really could be anything. Some of you had some pretty wild ideas on Instagram of the story behind this miniature. So this week, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything came out for Dungeons & Dragons. It's a rule book for DMs and players who want to take their D&D game up a notch or to a new level. Chapter 1 of this book deals with character options, including the ability to customize your ability score rollout of your particular race. So, in the Player's Handbook, Dungeons & Dragons, they give all races ability increase modifiers based on the kind of stereotypical archetype of that race. Let's look at half-orc, for example. A half-orc should have a +2 to strength and a +1 to constitution. That reinforcement is appropriate if you want to learn an archetype in particular, but it's not very helpful if you want to tailor your specific half-orc to something that is a bit out of sorts with your standardization. So using these enhanced rules, we could allow our half-orc to put that +2 instead of strength, we could put it into charisma. He's very charismatic, and that +1 from instead of constitution, we put it into intelligence because of the way, let's say, he was raised. Basically, we could do whatever we need to based on our imaginations, and frankly, that's the crux of that entire section of the book. Purists will hate it, and you've already seen maybe some people on the internet chirping about how it is, but remember, the DM always has the final say in these adjudications anyways, so it's pretty harmless. So, since Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is all about the unexpected and creative thinking, let's break the mold a bit with tonight's mystery mini. Let's see what I came up with, shall we? On the world of Toril, on the continent of Faerun, there's a region known as the Vast, named after the ancient orc kingdom of the Vast Star. The orcs had long since been defeated, pushed to the utter fringes of society, and enslaved by many of the humans that lived there now. So today, formerly independent states have formed a nation called Vesperin, the capital of which is the city of Tantris. The ruler of Vesperin is a man named Baldric Netheridge. He has two fraternal twins, the elder by a couple minutes, Prince Oliver, and his sister, Princess Octavia. Now the country of Vesperin, as I mentioned earlier, has many captured orcs enslaved in their kingdom. They treat them and use them like animals because of their savage nature and history. One such orc is named Krusk, and he is a slave at the magnificent Netheridge Castle. Now, he does all kinds of physical labor, blacksmithing, groundskeeping, and over his time working on the grounds at the castle, Princess Octavia begins a friendship with Krusk. She quickly realizes that there is more to the vicious bloodshed that the orcs are known for. This is a creature of flesh and blood, with family that he misses, and dreams and desires, not just the rage and savagery that they've all been raised to believe when they grew up. Well, less than a year later, and their friendship has blossomed, and Princess Octavia is now unmarried and pregnant with a half-orc. One of the worst things that you can be judged for in their society. Devastated, she confides in her twin brother for guidance, and he's absolutely disgusted with his sister and immediately turns on her and takes her to his father and betrays her trust and shares the secret with the king. Their father, King Baldric, is in fact distraught with this news, but not in the way that Prince Oliver thought he would be. No, he loves his daughter Octavia far too much to punish her. So he has the orc Krusk sent away from Tantris off to nearby Ravensbluff to work at a work camp. And he tells his daughter that she must stay hidden to give birth to her bastard in the castle and raise it in secret. So Octavia does. She has her baby, a young boy, half human, half orc, a half orc, who she names Krogan. 12 years pass, and Krogan grows up to be an educated, strong, charismatic young man. He impresses his tutors with how quickly a pig-nosed degenerate like him could recite poetry like the bards of old. His grandfather, the king, takes a liking to the young boy and teaches him how to fight. Octavia begins to think that maybe, just maybe, there's hope, that they might one day be able to put aside their differences once and for all and live in harmony with the orcs of the land. Things are going great at the castle. However, darkness lies ahead, as that summer, the king Baldric succumbs to an illness, and his eldest son, Oliver, is crowned king. Within a month, one of Oliver's first act as king is to bring his bastard nephew's father back to Tantris to have him executed in front of his sister and nephew. Krusk and Octavia are put on trial. Octavia begs for his life, explaining that orcs are not animals but living beings with their own culture, society, religions, needs, and love. Laments, we could all learn from them. If we could just get along, put our prejudices aside, we could become a better society. As sure as her deceased father had predicted, the people of Vesperin were not ready to hear this. They booed and hissed at her words and looked upon her with disdain and disgust. King Oliver's justice is merciless and instead decides to make an example out of Krusk. For the crime of touching a human woman, a noble no less, his hands are removed, and then he is blinded and forced outside of the city walls to die alone and in agony. Octavia is then given the cruel choice: reinstatement of her position and title, so long as she accepts the same fate for her son Krogan. Otherwise, they both face exile from all of Vesperin into the harsh lands of the Vast. She takes her son, holds him tightly in her arms, and scowls at her twin brother. So, then you have chosen death. Octavia is pelted with rotten food and stones as she has walked through the city one last time with her son, who is both enraged and devastated at the treatment and loss of his father, and they are both never seen again. 12 years pass. Vesperin is prospering. Roaming orcs have disappeared from the border settlements and into the fringe of the mountains, possibly drawn away by some kind of distant conflict. Perhaps, because not long after, that's when the raids begin. Tactical, organized, brutally efficient, and effective. King Oliver sends 50 well-trained men to investigate the situation, and they disappear, only to reappear, this time stuffed into crates, delivered around the kingdom, hands removed and eyes removed. The pocket communities of Vesperin retreat into the safety of the walls of Tantris just in time before a massive orcish horde appears on the horizon. Never in over 500 years has such an orcish force been seen in these lands. All different tribes working together as one, all flying under one banner of a golden orcish face. Rumors are that a great general leads these orcs, one whose talents and orders are beyond questioning. His muscular frame, imposing armor and shield make him a legend to behold on the battlefield. And he has only one goal in mind: the complete destruction of the kingdom of Vesperin, and the reinstatement of orcs as the power in these lands. Once the city was completely surrounded, the massively armored general stood in front of the gates and blew loud horns 3 times. It appeared to those who was watching he was potentially looking for a parley or perhaps a one-on-one combat, but King Oliver was happy behind his walls, and he was certainly not going to go out to dishonor himself to speak with such a green, gray-skinned ape. It was after 3 days that the brilliance of the orc plan was realized. See, for years they'd been allowing elite fighters to be captured along the Vast, taken into bondage and slavery, pretending to be too feeble or too weak to be a really true threat, and waiting for this one day to come where their new masters would bring them into Tantris, through the walls, right under the throats of the autocracy, until they heard their masters beck and call. From inside Tantris, the slaves erupted into violence. With all of the army at the battlements, the elite orc soldiers had little resistance in the streets and buildings of the city, and with every citizen they killed, they found new weapons and armor to better equip themselves and free more slaves, so on and so forth. Within 3 hours, it was over, and King Oliver found himself standing across from a considerably armored foe, surrounded by an army of united orcish clans. "Do you know how many innocents you murdered today?" the king asked. An orc translator repeated the phrase back to the general and then back to the king. "Only one needed to die." "Then come and fight me. Show me your true strength and honor," says the king. Well, they fought viciously for about 45 seconds. The king had grown fat, lazy, and weak during his time on the throne, and was easily defeated at the hands of the orcish champion. Winded, the king cleverly screamed, "Nephew, remove your helmet. Let me gaze upon your bastard face before you kill me." The orcs murmured amongst themselves, when a young orc voice cried, "Very well, uncle, but I do not wear a helmet." Krogan appears from the crowd. "You must now choose. Place your crown upon our champion's head and beg forgiveness, or..." The king spits at the half-orc. "I would never beg to a half-breed bastard dog like you, or whatever demonic presence resides in your champion's armor." The great orc champion quietly removes its helmet, revealing a battle-scarred face and a head of red, luscious hair belonging to Octavia, the king's own sister. "Then you have chosen death, brother," she says as she cleaves her brother's head from his shoulders with one fell swoop of her sword. Krogan then takes his mother's hand and holds it high and proclaims, "It is done! All hail Octavia, Queen of the Orcs, Queen of Vesperin, and bringer of peace." Alright, that's it for this episode. Here she is, Octavia, bringer of peace, for the shelf. Alright, now more information about the contest. This Nolzur's Marvelous Miniature Kraken. Going to be giving this away to a lucky subscriber who has sent in a submission. Remember, like this video, be a subscriber to Paint to Life, and send me painttolife@gmail.com, it's in the link below, a little story about this guy. You can keep it simple, maybe a couple paragraphs, 2, 3. If you send me more, that's okay. I'm going to review all the submissions. I have quite a few already, and you guys are amazing with some of the stuff you've come up with. It's really cool to see this channel sparking so much creativity and interest. Want to know about this guy? I'm going to keep the contest open until December 4th. Friday, December 4th, I'll close the submissions. I'll make my decision, and I'll announce the winner on the episode for December 5th. So that's what you have to do there. So head on down to your friendly local gaming store, grab some brushes, some paints, give miniature painting a try. It doesn't have to be this as your first project out of the box, but we know you'll love it. I love it. A lot of the people watching love it, so you should try it too. I hope everyone's safe and healthy and keeping it up during these times. Remember, people, wash your hands, and we'll see you next week. For the crime of touching a human female, a noble... Meow. Okay, go away, kitty. I'm doing a film.